Hello, everybody. This is Chris Cornish, your audiomancer for Critinit. Before we begin the episode, I want to say sorry in advance for a few small audio issues. Nothing major, it's just that some of us, while we're recording this batch of episodes, had to record from different locations than normal, move locations in the middle of the recording session, and also use different equipment than we normally do. All these things just mean that on different people's channels at different periods in time, there are some minor audio issues. I've done my best to clean those up and make them sound as normal as possible, but you will likely notice a few things. So thank you in advance for any grace that's needed on this, and when we get past this batch of episodes, we'll be back to our normal audio quality.
Last time on Critinit. After getting an injured Kruz back to health, our group finds themselves trying to make heads or tails of the events of the night. Intense conversations were had as the new members try to understand the dangers surrounding their tiefling party member and what that meant for them all. Secrets were revealed, and a decision to meet with Relic resulted in a better understanding into just who the two factions that attacked were. One seemingly linked to the Deodovan, and the other to the Reinhardts. But even while they had questions to answer, they were given a new contract to complete by My Name Is, within the second level of the fracture. Perhaps the heat will do well to clear their heads for what lies before them. Hello everybody, and welcome to Critinit. Here we have a couple guests on today's episode number 6.
Hi, my name is Forrest Leader. I'm a former cast member on Myth-Guided Forgotten Lore, and I am also a lyricist with Off the Beaten Path, fantasy, and science fiction musical commissions.
Impressive.
And I'm his better half, Tris Leader, and I don't sound quite as fancy as all that, but I was also on Myth-Guided Forgotten Lore as a cast member, and recently have been seen in Off the Beaten Path, the musical, and may be so again in the future. Find me on Twitter and TikTok, Tris_Joy.
Yeah, and I'm Fearless Leader, with the leader part being L-E-D-E-R. Because it's my last name, Adoom.
And we're excited to be here.
Yeah, we are.
Yes!
Yeah, D&D.
Thank you. And we welcome you aboard, and we are super excited to have you guys here. And I honestly feel like we have a wonderful story coming up, and I'm super excited to see how this goes. Now, diving into the world. Relic, at the moment, regaling the dangers that is to be found on level 2 of the fracture. You guys, at the moment, no one's heroes, having been given a contract to hunt down the Mourned down on level 2, incorporeal creatures of which have a weakness of silver. You each have been provided the ability to hunt these things via a small silver pouch that you can use upon your weapons, very small amount of usages. And Relic, in his last hanging words to you, had just mentioned that those who die on level 2 don't ever seem to necessarily stay there. And very strange things happen and befall those who perish. And he was warning you especially that you are to tread lightly. Now, continuing through it, he says, "The journey to Mist and Sweat is about a day to the northeast. Within the first few hours, you should run across the river Bottomless. It runs the full length to Mist and Sweat, and is the only source of fresh water anywhere underground. We don't know its source, and a 20 days journey in either direction doesn't reveal it, so we've stopped looking. Creatures of all kinds exist down there. Be aware that most of these creatures are very adept at using the mist to hide. Make sure when you set up camp keep a sharp watch. Any questions?
Yeah, so we got a couple of creepy crawly guys like me and Vall. You're saying don't hang out in the mist, don't use it to our advantage?
These creatures live in this stuff. They have to survive. If you use it as cover, you're practically walking around in the dark, hoping to hide from a bat.
Noted.
Relic, what equipment would you suggest we take?
Well, if you have any silvered weapons, I'd suggest taking those. I already give you the metallic silver powder. Remember, 5 uses. Should be used sparingly.
So also, like, you say you use the silver just to finish them off? Like, is that correct? Or can we blast them with different things? Because I got this idea of something I want to scrap together real quick. That I could shoot a flamethrower and that sort of thing. Like, will that at least damage things? Or is it only the silver that's going to hurt them?
Other things aren't exactly very effective at killing them, and it will never kill them. It will only bring them down to a very injured state. So yes, beat them down with things that you may have that are non-silvered, but only the silver of the bullet or silver of a sword will destroy them truly. And, of course, remove the bell from them that you need to retrieve.
Okay, at that, Ghastgar takes a step away and he pours a little bit of the silver into his into the chamber of his rifle and a little bit into the sheath of his shadow glass dagger.
Okay, mark 2 uses of your 5 out real quick.
Kruz is gonna copy Ghastgar and pour a little bit down the sheath of his sword as well.
Okay.
And he's gonna look over at Relic and go, Relic, what about elemental damage? Will elemental damage hurt these things at all? And if so, what element should we be focusing on?
Elemental damage can do similarly. Don't use anything that is cold. These creatures are completely immune to that. I would suggest fire or any other elements, though I'm curious to see how you're using this.
Well,
just via your axe?
My weapon's very, very versatile, and I have a few tricks up my sleeve with it.
Wonderful.
Okay, at hearing the words use fire, Ghastgar begins to take a step away and starts fiddling with some stuff in his backpack. He pulls out that quantum infuser that he first picked up off of that oxen that he encountered. And he holds it in his hand and he feels it as being kind of weighty because he knows that he had some plans for how to use this for a device that he's been very keen on making. But he's had a build brewing in his artificing mind that he's going to start putting it to task. So he sits down in a corner and he starts tinkering around with the quantum infuser and, hi, Relic, is there any scrap metal? I need just some like sheet metal here and maybe a spring. Hey, does anybody have a spring? And gets to work building his Eldritch Cannon from having acquired level 2 status. What?
Ah, well, level 3,
or
but yes.
Level 3, yeah, level 3 status.
Dingus.
What?
No, I second
Okay.
Ghastgar only having second level abilities, just to keep him in check.
Okay.
We'll see about that, buddy.
Well,
The last thing we need is a level 3 poo gas attack.
oh geez, no. So anyway, as Ghastgar, you begin to tinker with your device in the corner. Enter in from your guild door as it swings open, this time to the left in a very strange and awkward motion, creaking as it does. You look back to see entering 2 figures. If you two would like to introduce what you look like.
So walking through the door is a woman, sort of elven shaped, maybe, but a little bit, maybe not sure. Pale, like gray, almost like gray-blue skin, and similar colored hair that's kind of pulled back into a kind of royal purple hood and cloak, and a pretty shiny breastplate, boots, seems, traveling clothes, a rapier at her side, and she's walking next to
A fairly tall young man around mid-20s with fair skin, but it's almost hard. The only way you really can tell the natural color of his skin is the area around his eyes, because the entire rest of all of the visible skin that you can see is covered in multicolored tattoos of differing scripts and the like. And he's also wearing a breastplate, and he's got hammers hanging off of his belt. He's got like 6 different sized hammers, and he walks in with about an 8-foot pole with a hammer on the end of it, and with a spike as well at the point. Sandy blonde hair and green eyes. Oh, wearing a breastplate. Did I say that?
Yeah, you said that.
Okay.
As you walk in, Relic, the old turtle stands up, kind of creakily, and acknowledges you. Well, hello there. You two, a couple new recruits? I'm kind of surprised.
Yes, I suppose you could say that.
We heard this was the place to be.
Well, I was just finishing telling these two about their contract. Do you happen to have one with you?
Aye. Here. And I'll hold it out, bring it over, and hand it to him.
Okay. And opening up the contract, he rolls his eyes to the bottom very quickly and cocks his head and begins to roll it back up and turns to the rest of you. Apparently they've been assigned the same one that you guys have, so, pardon me, but they will be telling you about the contracts. I just gave them all the information. My apologies. I didn't realize we were having more. Let me get you your silver dust. My apologies. And he begins to waddle back to his room numbered 15 on the side. Disappearing through, he's left the room for the rest of you for a moment to say your piece.
Hey, hammer guy, can you let me borrow that really small one hanging on your left?
Sure. He just sort of hesitantly reaches over and grabs fine silversmithing hammer, and I need that back.
I'll give it right back. Just get, and I reach over and I just grab it, and I kind of give it a little bit of a tug, but I wait for you to release.
Yeah, I let it go.
Okay, and I start just very lightly tapping on a spot on the thing that I am making.
I'll kind of lift my eyes quizzically to the rest of the folks here, and my name is Camden, and this is my friend Ela.
Kruz is gonna reach out a clawed hand and say, "I'm Kruz. Welcome to no one."
Pleasure.
I'm Ghastgar. Tink, 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 tink.
Hi, Ghastgar.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Chris, you're legit a furry creature, right?
I am a small 3-foot tall mongoose that talks.
Okay, if I walk up close-ish to you to kind of watch what you're doing, are you gonna move? Do you move away? I do that. Do you move away at all?
I think I eye you very closely, but I am more focused in on what I am doing. I check you out for just a brief moment, just flash of the eyes, and then right back to what I'm building.
What do your hands look like?
That is, they look like little paws, but I would imagine that they the fingers of my paws are a little bit longer. They're a little bit more dexterous than average mongooses would be. That would be about the only way of differentiating me from a standard mongoose.
Okay.
How I see it in my head is imagine human hands with like the little dog nubbies on the bottom.
Okay.
And little claws.
So as I'm watching you work with your hands for a moment, I take the half glove on one of my hands, I pull it off and stretch out my hand. As I stretch it out, it shifts to be a larger version of your hand with like the fur and the nubs and stuff. And I look at it.
I do a double take back over what you're doing and stop hammering for a sec. Wait. How did you just do that?
And then it'll go back to...
What?
And then it goes back to my long gray fingers. Interesting. Do you find that it's easier to hold things? Stay a grip on things? So I find these so tiresome to wear, and I kind of wave the glove at you.
I've never found a problem with my hands before, but I know that these aren't supposed to be the hands that I have. How did you just do that?
Practice?
Kruz is gonna go, nah. Kruz picks his jaw up off the ground and go, no, how did you do that? Did do you have a Magitech drive in your stomach?
Kruz, what was in that coffee you made?
I'm pretty sure at this point I don't remember putting mushrooms in it, but there could have been.
I turn to Camden and I just say, you know, it's been often enough. I think you might be right. It's just a little trick I can do. That's all. Carry on.
Can you change your DNA at will?
Sort of. But, that's neither here nor there. For the moment, I think instead we have some information that you're supposed to be giving to us. And she just smiles at everybody.
Yeah. I stretch my hand back out and hand the hammer back over.
I take it. I put it back on my belt.
I found it. Here we go. As Relic, comes waddling back in with 2 other sacks of very fine metallic powder. Handing one to each one of you, he explains, this is magnetic. Put it to any one of your weapons and it will take the silvered quality. The creatures you'll be hunting down there are susceptible to this. Yes. And it's interesting. When Relic draws near to you, you both feel lightheaded, but in a good way. And as he hands the 2 sacks to you, he stops. And you see his eyes just kind of rise just a little bit, and then kind of fall back onto you. And like you see him inquisitively begin to kind of like look over both of you.
Interesting.
Well, thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Silvered weapons come in handy.
Yes, they do.
Little bit of a slight narrowing of Camden's eyes as he attaches it to the pole arm.
Yes. You see his hand just kind of almost like absent-mindedly like reach over to his right inside pocket and just kind of like feel around for a second before stopping. And then him just kind of like pull it back out with nothing in his hand, just back to his side. And yes, indeed. Sorry, my apologies. Okay, you all come a little closer again. I have one last hint for you for these creatures. The mourned down there in Mist and Sweat is not entirely natural. They only appeared after the fall of the town, and I fear that they are, in fact, the souls of those who perished once it was destroyed. I would hate to see them once again thrust into some abyss without an ability to cross over to the other side. There is a way of not destroying the soul, but still releasing the bauble that we require for the contract. it does require a little bit more work, as you have to fulfill whatever it is the soul is bound to. I have personally found sometimes someone who has died around a dead flower, watering it and making it bloom again, will release the soul. Or perhaps a letter wasn't delivered, something along those lines. If you run across one, they shouldn't attack you immediately, but for my own hope, I pray that these will be able to be released rather than destroyed. If you run across any, that is, of course, my apologies.
Camden, almost immediately, his eyes, like he was looking down at what he was doing. And when Relic says that he prays that the souls will be released, his eyes, dart up, with, one eyebrow slightly arched, and nods a little bit.
See him take a deep breath, as if of affirmation, just ever so slightly. All right, well, follow me. I will lead you all to the fracture. Tom would like to have a word with some of you. And he begins to waddle his way out.
I'm gonna remember to pass the silver dust off to Parker or Vall. I'm gonna hand it out to him.
Okay.
I'll take my portion.
Okay. Parker and Vall, you've also been quiet from now. Is there anything you'd like to do before you're led out to the fracture room?
This whole time, Vall has been focused on our two newcomers, getting a general size up of who they are, what they're wearing, and building conjecture based on that on how they'll act while they're down in the fracture.
Parker as well. He's been just observing these two newcomers from afar, not taking eyes off the female, who appears to maybe potentially be half-elf at the time, but with the changing of the hands is very mystifying. I'm very compelled to know more about this person.
Do you say anything on the way?
On the way, I'll stroll over. The thing with the hands, I do have a question. Is magic-based?
I don't know. Your hair grows. Is it magic-based?
The shifting, that's natural.
I think so. What do you think?
Sawyer, can I make a check?
Please make a history check. See if your Bardage College knowledge comes in handy.
5 on the die, so a total of 9 for history.
Unfortunately, you have no recollection of any form of changing magic, let alone something that wouldn't be considered magic.
There's you public bardic college?
Yeah, I know. I was an undergrad.
Yeah, and then you got kicked out.
Oh, that's amazing.
Ghastgar, seeing that everybody's starting to get up and move towards the door to the fracture, kind of hurriedly tries to put some finishing touches on a part-way finished project and begins just kind of walking absent-mindedly behind the group while tinkering with a small object and some of his tools in his hands.
Okay.
Kruz is going to walk next to Camden, and he's just going to say, "Do you mind if I to inspect your hammers? As a smith, I tend to have a fondness for hammers."
That silversmithing one is real good.
Aye. They were handed down to me by my father. He taught me everything I know about the trade. Here.
Kruz is gonna take his hammers. Which one do you hand me? Because you said you had 6 or so.
About 6 different sized hammers around my waist, and I'll hand you the silversmithing hammer because Ghastgar mentioned it.
I'm gonna inspect it really well. Sawyer, do I need to make a check on this hammer?
Please make a Make an intelligence check.
And not Cruz's strong suit.
No.
DC's not that high given your vocation.
But it's still a 16.
16 is enough to note that this is a actually very well crafted smithing hammer. However, it is not of Reinhardt make.
And that's what I was looking for, so I'm going to give it like a little test swing. This is a really, really good hammer. And it's not a Reinhardt hammer, which makes it a little bit better than I was thinking it was, so...
Yeah, it's... and since you were inspecting it closely, you'd also notice that it bears the Silversmithing Guild mark on it as well.
I'm going to hand it back to them, so that they make fine hammers.
Aye, they do. We do, I should say.
Hey, do you have one even smaller?
I could make you one.
I need it right now. Never mind.
You need it right now? We're walking. What do you need it right now for?
This thing right here.
You're going to do delicate hammer work while you're walking.
So everybody else is moving, and I need to keep working on this.
Have you thought about doing it at a place that's appropriate for the work?
Kruz is going to hand him his rock hammer out of his explorer's pack.
That is far too big. Do you have a nail?
Yes, Kruz has a nail.
Give me the nail!
Digging through the bottom of his bag and pulls out a little nail.
I grab the nail and then I stick out an expecting hand for the silversmithing hammer.
I'm going to hand him not my silversmithing hammer to hit a nail. I'll hand him like an appropriate hammer for that.
Seeing that it is a slightly different hammer, I look at it and then begin tapping.
Okay, so within the 30-foot distance it was from literally in the inside of the guild to the outside, Relic and Tom Tibia, who spent the entire time waddling his way over to you guys, has now just sat there and watched this all happen as various instruments have been being passed around one after the other, trying to figure out how to tap this one little thing he can't even see. And
oh, it's just a nail. What on earth are you? Whatever. All right, fine. Now, I need your keys, quickly. Those of you who are going down.
Kruz whips out his key.
Ah, wonderful.
oh, and for those of you who have not seen Monsieur Tom Tibia, a rotund gnome of very interesting proportions has made his way over, wearing nothing but long, like humanoid-sized clothing, clutching a walking stick that bends every time that he tries to take a step. It took him a while to get to you guys, but it was just enough time for everyone else to be arguing about hammers. So it worked out perfectly. And now, upon retrieving your keys very quickly and providing you two with new ones, you see him take out a small device from within the folds of the sleeve, attach it to the end of your keys, click it as if a series of tumblers, slip it out, insert another one, and do the same to each one of you. Handing it back,
Now you have authorization for the second one. Naturally, anyone who would be trying to enter the elevator without any ability to know what they're doing or turn it on won't be able to get in. So you'll be going through me, of course, for everything else that requires entry into this particular device. Now, if there not be any more blacksmithing talk, because I am mildly interested and amused at all of it, I will be returning to my shack. Good luck as to whatever the heck you are making, young mongoose.
and you see him turn, wave his stick, and begin to waddle his way back.
Now, as he's waddling away, I'm going to say, one day I'm going to steal that stick and fix it.
Yeah, you can try.
I so wish that I had mending right now. Sorry.
Cruz, just go right now. Just take it from him. He's an old man. He cannot stop you. I will close my eyes as you do this, as I will no longer be a witness.
I'm Vall. Don't encourage him.
Hey, Vall, since you're a better thief than me.
What? I am no thief. How dare you?
Okay, since you're sneakier than me,
That I am.
I'll give you a hold portal magic tech drive to go steal it from him.
What do I need a Magitech drive for?
I don't know. I'm just offering.
Kruz, don't encourage Vall. Stop it, both of you.
No, he's trying to bargain for something I do not want.
That sounds pointless.
It's not a bargain. I'm just saying.
This sounds like bargaining.
Let's go.
As they're arguing, I turn to Camden. Are we sure? These ones, really?
That's what the contract says.
Well, yes, I know what the contract says, but...
Do you want to go down to the second level or not?
Sorry, so far 4 of you have complained about the idiocy of this group, so I'm impressed. It took you literally all of like 20 minutes to officially be like, wow, this is completely doomed from the beginning.
Oh, it's amazing. This mongoose must be protected at all costs. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I appreciate this.
I very obliviously, Ghastgar also appreciates.
Well, as Relic passes by, Relic stops at you two, and just as a parting glance, looks to you and, I pray and hope that you return.
Aye.
And then he nods and continues on.
We hope to have a conversation with you sometime soon.
If you return, I am in door 15. I would very much like to speak to you more.
I'd to take you up on that.
Yes, we'll remember it when we do.
Thank you. And he continues on back to the guild lobby through the fixed door that some of you assisted in last time. Ghastgar, I'm looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Somebody's got some good handiwork there.
the 5 of you begin to make your way towards the elevator, which at the moment is suspended over the about, hundreds of foot long, massive gaping chasm in the center of this room. Camden and Ela, you watch these 5 walk to the edge of the chasm, of which you see no bridge, and just casually walk out onto nothing. And for the briefest moment, you expect them to naturally disappear down into the depths of this chasm. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you're rooting for and who you're not, they continue on. It seems as though there is some form of transparent walkway between the edge of the chasm itself, leading out to this device in the center.
Kruz is going to be the first one to make it to the elevator and put his key in and turn around in motion and go, "Come on, guys."
I'll just walk over and just tap at the invisible pathway with the hammer.
As he's doing that, I just walk right past him onto the invisible pathway.
Oh, dang.
And I feel for the edges.
Well, in feeling for the edges, you do see and notice that this is a 10-foot wide walkway with no railings at all. So, falling off, not a good idea.
But always an option.
As I walk past you, Camden, I say, "Come on now, have a little faith."
It's always good to see what's been made.
After a few more moments than the other, you all reach the elevator itself. In entering it, you do notice there are hundreds of buttons all over the place. There's just on the left, on the right, lining up, down, and everywhere. Upon inserting his key in the red dragonborn, turning it, you do see a button begin to glow. Just one of the random ones, it seems, being depressed. The doors swing shut. The elevator begins to descend very quickly. At a certain point, you guys begin to feel as if you are in zero gravity. There are small railways around it, so you guys are able to brace yourselves if you desire.
I just reach the top of the hammer up and push myself down to the ground.
Okay.
Off the ceiling.
Kruz is going to grab onto Ghastgar as he floats up.
Ghastgar continues to work on his project.
Okay.
I can see Ghastgar in this like free fall, and he's just setting the nail in the air next to him as he's going.
Beautiful.
Puts the hammer down, picks up the nail again.
Perfect. I have a zero gravity workstation.
Ayla, is there anything you would do? Ayla?
Sorry. I think. So if we just float up like 0G style.
Yep.
Yeah. So after like about 4 or 5 seconds of that, she just kind of shrugs and she'll go to like crisscross applesauce, and floating in midair like almost meditation style.
Nice. Roll a deck save.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
All of us?
The rest of you who have already had this done before, it doesn't really matter. He found a way to set himself, therefore I will not have him roll.
21.
21, that is plenty. You sense when the elevator is about to come to a screeching halt just by the slightest sound of a click, and your legs shoot out right beneath you, and you all stop. And you catch yourself, and don't fall over, as some of you did last time.
Hey everybody, this is Chris Cornish, your audiomancer for Critting It. I just want to take a little time out to ask you to do a couple of things for us. Find us on Twitter and follow us if you haven't already. We are at crit_n_it. Also, if you could please leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Google Podcasts or wherever else that you find us, it would help other people find us and get the story out to others. And speaking of the story, let's hop back into it.
The doors swing open. Heat suddenly floods into the elevator. Riding on it is a cloud thick with smoke, or what you find to be mist, that obscures the path beyond and leaves a complete wall of white before you. The smell of sulfur and salt water slightly fills the air around you as you, specifically the more sensitive of you, being Ghastgar, have it assault you.
I drop the hammer that I'm using.
It is actually very obscured. Even in your short stature, the distance between you and the ground is murky.
Oh, dang it. Where did that go? Camden, I dropped the hammer. It's supposed to be right here by my feet. I cannot see it, and I've been feeling around with it for my feet. Here it is. Here you go. Thanks. And I hand it back up.
I reach out and take it, and in my father's shop, when I dropped a hammer, I was taught not to.
Ooh.
My tail lifts just a little bit.
You've now threatened the mongoose.
I'm going to nudge Camden and say, Ela's kind of taking a liking to him, so I wouldn't talk like that. She looks a little perturbed.
I do want to say for the record that the mongoose must be saved at all costs was out of character, if that wasn't clear. But you're not wrong, James.
Please don't drop my hammer.
After Kruz says that, he lifts his shield up in front of him and pulls out his dagger.
Okay.
And proceeds to exit the elevator.
Okay.
I pull out my tinkering tool set, and I pull out a small little device that I've got that looks kind of like a very small multi-tool. I tuck it behind my left ear, and then I pull out my wand, and I stick it behind my right ear, and I have a Magic Tech drive plugged into the back of it.
Okay. Anyone else doing anything?
I'm outside of the elevator. I'm trying to perceive if I see anything around me.
Roll a perception check.
I continue working on my device. I feel like I'm nearly finished, and I want to keep working on it.
Okay. So I have to take the lesser of two rolls.
Yes.
17.
Okay. Looking around, you don't see anything. It is milky white and just white.
Can I smell anything?
With that roll, you can smell sulfur and the light smell of salt water.
Briny.
You can feel water droplets falling from the ceiling in some unbeknownst region or reason, just kind of tapping alongside your head and beside you.
I'm gonna hold my position there. Just enough space so everybody can flood out behind me, but I'm gonna hold my position there, like kind of standing guard, because I'm walking blind pretty much.
Okay. The rest of you?
Vall is going to begin his scouting. He's going to attempt to move quietly through the watery floor.
Once again, roll a perception check with disadvantage.
All right. All things. There's a d20. 19 on the die. And then a 6. So a total of 12.
A total of 12. You find the same thing. You can see about 10 feet around you, like at max. Things after 5 feet start to fuzz up pretty bad. So the ground is full of water. It's raining slightly around you. That's about it.
So Triss's memory sucks for a bunch of reasons. In all of the information that was given about this area and the things that we're facing, was there stuff about being attracted to light? Is there a reason we're not putting a light out? Anything like that Triss forgot? Or...
Nope.
Cool. I draw my rapier in preparation.
Okay.
And then I pull out what essentially looks like a torch that isn't lit and cast light on the end of it.
Ooh, okay. You are able to see now 20 feet around you.
Did you just cast a spell without a Magitech drive?
Well, that would be crazy now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think? And I smile and I take about 3 more steps into the not darkness now.
Into the mist. Very well. Do the rest of you follow?
I was going to say, not far enough that you couldn't keep up with me, but...
Of course.
The whole torch idea with the mist, we are already playing into the enemy's hand in this territory. I might as well have one as well. And Vall will fish out one of his torches and strike it with flint and tinder until it lights.
You attempt to light the torch and it does not light. It is wet.
From my pack, it's too wet to light.
Given the humidity here, your flint and tinder, you can light it. It will most likely stay lit for about 5 to 10 minutes.
That's fine. I have 10 of these.
Okay. Okay, fine. That's fair. Very well.
While Kruz notices Vall struggling, he kind of walks open and pops a flare and hands it to Vall.
I'm sorry, what?
Wait, where did you...
You told me I was allowed to have flares.
No, I know. I remember now. That makes sense. Okay.
And that's the voice of DM regret right there.
No, the worst of it was in episode 1 when I forgot that I gave Ghastgar a certain weapon that suddenly was murdering all of my monsters, and it was like, oh yeah, I gave that to you. That happened.
Welcome to the struggles of homebrewing.
All right. And you do recall that Relic did mention to the northeast, day's journey.
Well, and I look around at everybody. Gentlemen, shall we?
After you.
I'm trying to keep with the group, but I'm still focused. So I imagine that I am just trying to be next to feet without getting stepped on.
Okay.
I'm just going to swoop him up and just put him right on my horns like, dink.
There you go.
I have never been so happy to be treated like a backpack.
More like a hat.
Ghastgar the Hat.
Call me David
Hat
Crockett.
scar.
Ah, you beat me to it.
God.
All right. Well, you all continue northeast.
Indeed.
All right. Ghastgar, in your continuing on in attempts at working on your device, begin to slow in your hands. You get a feeling in your stomach, an uneasy feeling that you realize is not going away. It's like a stone in your stomach, like a combination of fright and familiarity. Like knowing an intruder is in your house, but not knowing where he is. Everything looks familiar, but you know there's danger.
I rolled a 4 for a perception check to see what the heck is going on around me, but I don't think that's going to do much.
I was at the front for a reason, so I will happily assist,
Okay.
or duo or however with Ghastgar. Sawyer, I really wanted you to like me. I really did. I rolled a 19 plus 6 is 25.
Okay, so with a 29, you look around, and for some reason your torch, the magic light pierces through all of the fog around. The light just cutting through it like butter. You're able to see practically clearly for, I'll give you an extra 20 feet. So you're able to see 30 feet around you in any direction. Perfectly. With a 29, see something interesting. Just off to your right, you see a long cloaked figure just kind of keeping pace with you, just outside your area of vision, just inside.
Who's closest to me? I mean, I know the mongoose is going to be close, and since he's a raccoon hat.
Kruz is right there.
Kruz, thank you. Sorry, is right there too. Camden, where are you at?
I'm a step behind and to the side.
Okay. I'll kind of flick my hand out to the right in a gesture of looking for you.
I'll
kind of exchange a glance with Ghastgar.
So when she flicks her hand out to the right, like pointing that way, I just walk about, let's call it 5 or so feet out to the side, to the right, to peer off into the mist.
Okay. You see, just on the inside of your vision as well, a cloaked figure. Not necessarily looking towards you or doing anything, just seemed to be keeping pace with you.
I put away the tool back behind my left ear, and I grab the wand out with behind my right ear.
Okay.
Is there any kind of threatening movement with it?
No, it just seems to be walking, keeping pace with you. Slowing when you do, quickening when you do.
Am I able to identify this kind of figure as to its nature?
Roll a perception or nature check.
I'll do a perception check.
All right.
I got a 16.
16. Definitely humanoid in shape. The cloak that it is wearing seems to look very tattered, very worn, but the gauntness of this creature as it's moving, ergo when its limbs seem to move the cloth around it, it looks as though it is nothing but skin and bone. You don't see any hands or any face or anything. It's just by the movement of the cloth, it is a very gaunt figure.
Well, we're being paralleled.
At least.
Yeah, hey guys, have you ever heard about the Silvered Shade?
No, that's a new one for me.
So the last time we were down here in the Fracture, we were leaving it with another guild, and they told us a story about this mysterious shade that seems to just observe and watch people, seems to be a bit silvery and kind of slender in nature. We were warned not to fight it and to not interact with it. And it seems to be like a skeleton that wears a cowl of black. This seems to be matching a description that's just a bit eerie.
Is the figure robed in black? I didn't catch that part.
It is indeed.
Well, let's go for a walk then.
All right.
Not that way, I mean where we were going.
I'm already walking that way.
Ghastgar,
Yes?
weren't we told he was on the 4th level?
They said that he's been seen everywhere, but that they saw him on the 3rd.
I don't like how he's moving up.
Neither do I.
Well, unless there's something to be done about it. And Elo walks forward. But I will keep as we move forward and onward, I will keep a close eye, I'm sure with everybody else, on the figure.
I would like to use my magical tinkering ability and capture the image of what we see, because I can do that.
Okay. You are able to do so then. After about 5 to 10 minutes of this creature walking next to you, you see it just kind of not even move away from you, but just begin to turn faint and fainter until it just fades into the mist and is gone from sight. With no other strange cowled figures, you all continue on for what seems to be about 8 to 9 hours, lest anyone want to do anything else while you are traveling.
And it's pretty much the same, like, kind of surroundings.
It is just mist and the sound of water, as I guess within the first hour you would have run across the river Bottomless, and were told to follow that all the way to Mist and Sweat. So beyond finding the river, which doesn't seem to be any remarkable river, it's about 10 feet wide. Looking down, it is completely black into the water, but if you taste it, it does taste fresh. It's very strange.
And again, forgive my terrible memory. It's just mist. It's not like stone or rock or walls or anything. It's just mist.
Just mist.
What are we walking on?
Oh, you're walking on like rock underneath. Like it's got like about an inch of water that kind of splashes around as you go. It's raining pretty consistently too. Just droplets dropping around you. Kind of like this cyclical heating of the ground. Makes steam. Steam condescends and then falls.
Right.
So is the water hot?
It's warm. It's not necessarily hot.
Sawyer, quick question.
Answer.
With the floor being perpetually covered in an inch of water, how do you differentiate between the river and ground?
The black nature of it.
And it's flowing?
It is flowing.
Okay.
Is the river cooler than the water we're walking through?
Significantly.
Am I familiar with anything in the few studies that I've done that is familiar with anything like this black water?
Make a nature check.
Say history. All right.
Could I
Oh no!
assist her on that?
No, it won't help.
You can make a nature check yourself if you.
That would be better because I rolled a 3 minus 1 is 2.
Ooh.
That is a total of 17.
17. Okay. As you kind of examine this, you begin to deduce that the water here is flowing up from this particular river. The area that it is, obviously you can't see. Putting your light nearby does not shine deep enough in order to reveal whatever it is, or the bottom. So with that, you're able to deduce that it's not part of the water, but may actually be the thing that's providing all of the water down here that's turning into mist in this kind of perpetual steam cycle that it is creating at the moment. But nothing else special about it. Explains why it's fresh as well.
Why does so very little make sense in the fractures?
That's a good question. A question people have literally dedicated their lives to trying to answer.
Kruz is going to respond to Vall and say, I don't even think we can explain the fractures.
That's actually fair. The fractures are unexplainable at the moment. But nonetheless, you all continue on all the way through about 8 hours of travel later. Finally, a dark shape begins to emerge out of the mist. Much larger this time. Getting a little bit closer, and with your amazing perception, because I'll allow that roll to carry over through the rest of your journey, because exceptional.
I will take it.
You deduce a broken stone archway, half collapsed with piles of rubble strewn about the area. A rusted placard hanging lazily from a single python reads, "Welcome to Mist and Sweat. May the old days be made new here."